Uh, Anna, did you get your microphone working so we could hear you?
Oh, oh well, this is going to be difficult then because what are we going to do?
Turn it back on. Yeah.
Try going out and coming in again. That's a possibility. Um, I mean, why don't you just log out of Zoom completely and try coming back? There you go. Maybe she'll have a voice when she comes back. Dina, you were away.
Yeah, I was away 12 days and then last week tried to dig our way out of the garden again.
Oh, you were out of town?
Yes,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were.
yeah, it was a vacation. And some of the time we were camping and no internet with and no phone service. So
Yeah,
a real break.
my wife's up in Yosemite right now. I don't know if they have phone service.
Oh, you didn't get to go with her?
I didn't want to go. Had some friends came up, so they went. I wanted to stay home and practice my piano, and I got watering the garden, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Dan.
Thank you. Good to see you too, Pat.
Oh, by the way, the first email, I didn't forgot to include you in it. But anyway, I hope
No,
you.
I'm in there.
I'm going to try to pull them up when Anna comes in. But first, we need to see what we're about because that seems to be the issue. Um, what's happening with Anna? That's really strange. Hmm. Did you go to any rallies over the weekend?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
It
Uh,
was good to watch them on TV, though. You know, get glimpses of all the
yeah.
activities.
Um, we went in Sebastopol and then we went in Santa Rosa and Anna and her family were in Santa Rosa too. How about
Big turnout? Was that a big turnout there?
yes, I mean Santa Rosa was huge and Sebastopol was really big for Sebastopol. It was like uh going a lot of people. It took a couple of blocks up.
Wow. Yeah.
And
Well, I went to the one in San Anselmo. Lois went to one in San Rafael, and one of the two friends that came up from New York. They're here. They came up from South Bay. They were staying with some other people, and at one point, I'm trying to remember where it was, what community, but there were 15,000 people were lined up along the road with signs. That was the estimate. So it was a pretty big turnout.
15,000, you said?
That's what she said. Yeah, I didn't get it. I don't know how she got a count like that. Let's see if this is. Can you any luck?
Can
Yeah,
you hear us?
yeah. You're. Let's see. You're looking like. Can you say something? Can you hear us? Oh, okay. So we still have the same problem.
Looks like she had somebody else helping her, but I don't see that person
Hmm.
now.
Um, Anna, maybe you can
Oh,
also call on your cell phone and use that for the audio.
She's gone out again. Anyway, today is, oh, here she comes. Let's see.
Again.
Okay, now it shows that you have your speaker on. That's what it shows us.
Mhm.
Can you hear us? Yeah, we can't. Yeah, we can't hear you. What about the cell phone? You said you try your cell phone?
Yeah, you can call into the Zoom number with your cell phone, Anna, and use both the cell phone and the computer. Do you have your cell phone there? Okay, she's getting herself.
Getting you, Sally, I see.
Yeah, on my old computer, I used to always have to switch it to a different mic, but I don't know how to tell her to do that over the phone.
You see her message?
I don't know.
She's asking if we have the phone number. I don't see it on the calendar invite. I don't have it.
Oh, the phone number. Yeah, the phone number. Did I give it? I don't send it. I didn't send it with this, with the link. That's right.
Excuse me.
I'll have to go into. Does she have the phone number? I don't know. Oh, what? Oh, let's see. Where is my? Hmm,
Put it in
there.
the link or in the chat if you
Yeah.
have it, Andy. Copy
Let,
it and paste it into the chat. I don't have it. Wasn't on the invite. But now that she's out of it, she won't see it in the chat.
I hope no one listens to this recording. They will be bored to tears.
I don't have the. Okay, let me see if I do this. If I say save.
I can call her and put her on speaker. Maybe everybody could hear her through my speaker.
Um, I can't. I can't get any telephone number. And I can't I can't edit um, the link because we're using it. So I'm between a rock and a hard place here. See, I never sent out I just sent out the Zoom link.
Yeah,
So
you can. Hey, Anna,
I can turn the computer off.
okay,
It's my Dell computer that's having the problem.
okay. Well, I have you on the phone in my speaker, but then you can't hear anybody else. Although I could take my earphones out and just put it on my computer speaker, and you'd probably be able to hear everybody. Well, if you want to try one more time. Yeah.
Hey, Dan, ask her if she has Zoom loaded onto her cell phone.
Yeah, do you have Zoom loaded onto your cell phone? Okay,
I
or
mean,
a calendar?
people do call in with the phone number, which we don't know where it is, but also if she had Zoom on her
Okay,
cell
we're gonna
phone.
try again right now. Can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you.
Can hear me? Fantastic.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you, John.
Okay,
Good Lord.
Oh, hang in.
Yeah,
So we can hear you on
Yeah.
your computer?
yeah.
We can hear you.
I had to turn off my computer.
Oh, I see. Reboot it.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Uh,
Well, Pat
ahead.
wanted us to respond to the two emails he received. One was about going to the second Monday of the month, bioregional organizing some kind of meetup, which I just go to the class on every other Tuesday at this point.
Well, the point of that was that one of you reached out to Penny about this, what we're dealing with in our hub, about not really getting other people to, join us. And so Penny told this person to contact us and see if we wanted, how she could help us. And she recommended coming to this particular session that she holds. And we would have the support, I guess, and input of other people who are in the design school. So that's that. I sent that to you and Anna, but I guess you guys have missed it, or maybe you were away or something.
Yeah, that was last Monday, the 9th, and
Oh, it's the second Tuesday of the month or something like that, isn't it?
second Mondays of the
Second
month.
Monday. So that's something to decide upon. But the other one was what I got this morning, that they want, this guy wants, let's see, what is it about IDs or
a badge or something.
badges? Yeah, but see, that's contingent on the bigger issue that we wanted to talk about.
We're not ready for that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to
Yeah.
first deal with that. So
That's not where we're at. Well, let's look at our agenda quickly. I think, Pat, you brought up the main thing. Are we going to stay together as
Yeah.
we're in Sonoma? Are you going to do that? That's a big question. And the other question is how we go forward, because we need to go forward. And how can we go forward in a way that may attract some people who are interested in bioregional? It's spreading, the idea is out there. BioFi has a very broad, I was talking with David this morning, my brother, and he just saw something that he was going to send me that he said was very inspiring, and it was very broad, and it's really taking off. And Matt and the Grayton situation were key in it. And so I've been thinking, and with Dina, about how to go forward. If we need to do something, we need to have a presentation. We've talked to a lot of people. There's people who are interested in being part of the Learning Center, perhaps if it forms, but how do we make that step? Where do we have it really take off? And so I'd like to talk about that. And I think that us staying together, Marin Sonoma, depends partly on the form that takes, how we're going forward. Your thoughts?
Yeah, my thoughts are that we really have two kinds of prospective members. They talked a lot on the Three Pillars course video, which I was watching just this morning, about weaving together all of the groups that are in your bioregion.
Right.
Because there are, a ton of groups in our bioregion. And the question is, what is the objective of weaving all of those together toward, they refer to it as the tapestry of connections. That means, but then there's the other group of people who aren't part of anything, and if they want to be, I think it would be problematic for them to be leaders, because if they haven't led any of these environmental groups in their life or career, there's some who are natural leaders and who could be part of that. But that's up to us who are already interested, and I came late to the party after your last invitation. Seems like maybe I was the only one who responded to that invitation.
Which
you sent out the letter a few months back, which I said, this sounds really good. And then I started attending the design school presentations, and I was very impressed with that. I already knew Joe Brewer, so I already had a degree of understanding and trust about what he's doing. And I think the international group is hugely helpful for this process. And but then if we are going to weave together all of the groups that are already moving toward bioregional, I consider it local economic development and integration, which is, multi-generational project, but now's the time to get started. You mentioned about getting younger people in. One of my engagements, because like I said, I've already been involved with 4 other engagements, including my own bioresources company. So, and the other one is a local compost coalition, and then the statewide compost association, and then also a statewide bioresources symposium. So I see that my role is to bring those healthy soil organizations into the bioregional movement for us here locally. And that's already happening. But what is the point of coordinating all of these efforts? And who does that coordination? To me, it's more logistics and management than it is trying to get members of some sort.
It's the purpose, Dan, and we're all in, is rebuilding a sense of community support and a circle of people that can share problems and solve together, because we're coming daily, weekly into system breakdown. Happening a lot faster than I thought it was going to. It's happening in front of our eyes. So that can either fragment people into a kind of dystopian reaction, or it can pull them together and organize them. Now, the pulling together to resist the current political economic push is happening. I mean, a lot of us were involved on last Saturday out with our signs.
Mhm.
That's happening, but that's assuming that the system isn't going to collapse in a sense. It's not bringing a vision of what we can do to support each other, rebuild community, and have a different kind of system
Mhm.
down the road at some point. But it isn't there yet. We're in between. And so how do we tell this story that helps people come together and begin to build a local community support group where we can solve the problems that happen around food, around regeneration, and how do we support each other? And we've got BioFi with potential funding and ways of managing that. So everything's in place except for the weaving.
Mhm. And what I know about that is that it requires a special kind of leadership,
Yeah, we're
That-
stuck
as well as the ability to not only do it, but to have the space in your life to do that kind of leadership.
now.
I don't think I'm that person.
Yeah,
I
so-
know what's going on, but
right.
I'm still making money for my family. So,
Absolutely. It's important, and everybody, this is the problem with for everyone.
right.
And I'm just glad to have you in the circle to talk. So, Dina, you had some ideas. You also started, I also, with reflection, feel that the Grayton Project is a fabulous story. It's a story that pulls a lot of it together in itself, community involvement, rebuilding, regenerating, growing. So if we could use that as a story that goes out to the larger community, that gets told, it's a place maybe where we could meet and do it, but I don't know if Matt would be open to doing that. It just seemed like we should begin and put the word out to everybody that has responded, but also to people we think might be interested, just to come to that meeting now. You also had a story that you were starting, Dina, and some thoughts on this, so I want to hear what you have to say. Also, I saw a wonderful presentation at the Grange, Dina's carbon conversation a few nights ago with young people. And again, it was the storytelling that seems to bring the energy.
Exactly. So the carbon conversation was 7 young women telling about their various experiences working in the climate arena, starting out through one of the AmeriCorps programs, either Grizzly Corps or Climate Corps. And the feedback from the carbon conversation has been really positive. People felt very connected to hearing personal stories and the enthusiasm these women have for not making a lot of money, but being in a community where they can do something positive, climate related / fire mitigation related. So that goes back to Pat, you said one of us contacted Penny. What I asked Penny about was storytelling, like instead of the big picture, starting with the small story and relating it to the big picture. And she sent a template for writing a story. And for weeks, I poo-pooed that template. And then I made a copy of it recently and I started filling it out as myself and the story of the Grange, which I think is a part of the small picture that radiates out. And I'm going to see it through and finish that. And I agree that telling the story of other inspirations like Solar Punk Farm or the Great and Village project is maybe the way to go. And then talking with Anna's brother David and his wife Kiki, Tor and I visited them. And we talked about this hub right here. We're kind of like a support group. And we do have some capabilities / talents, but being a big organizer is not any of our things. So yeah, we need some charismatic people to take up that, but what can we do in the meantime? And I keep focusing on Joe's comment, do the next right thing. So I think the next right thing is being each other's support group still. And just doing what we feel we have the capacity to do. And hopefully that includes some storytelling relating it back to the big picture of a bioregion. And I think exploring more about BioFi community so we can see, do we have something we could ask for money for? And from the webinar last week about the 3 pillars that Dan mentioned, one of the things that caught my ear was Andra in Portland. She was talking about having somebody tell some short video stories, just more like a citizens group going to each watershed council. I guess that's how they're divided around there, and getting their stories and compiling them in something that maybe a lot of people won't read anymore, but maybe they'll watch small videos. So I was like, we've got a lot of cool things that if we had the right interviewer to help tell the story video format. But first, I think we need to write down these ideas. So that's where I'm at right now. I want to keep going to the Every Other Tuesday organizing webinar. I'm not sure how much other extra stuff I can commit to going to. Every time I hear about somebody's success in their bioregion, I compare it to ours and the challenges we have, which we've talked about. But what can we do to do the next right thing?
Looking at things from here, first of all, did you send us the template? Do I have the template?
Yeah, I can find it again and send you the link again.
Yeah, I would like to see it again, too, Tina.
Yeah, I'd like
It
to
would
follow
be-
up. Yeah.
Yeah, it would just be good practice to pick something like, in your case, Pat, Project Adapt, and see if it fits into that template to tell the story, how that relates to bioregionalism. But I don't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead and keep talking.
Well, when you talk about personal stories, it seems to me that that's what I spent last year putting out uh, when I wanted to reach people I met in my watershed. I always told my story, why I'm involved in, and it really related also to people like Thomas Berry and my experiences on connecting with the earth, things like that. So anyway, the it got to be pretty discouraging because I always got some, if I got anything, it's a great, but like no real serious follow-up. So right now, my focus is less on working on the watershed organizing. I'm not an organizer. I don't, like you talked about, Dan. I don't have those skills. But I'm volunteering and doing different things. What I'm focused on is what's the Project Adapt attempt to put together some kind of a initial get together, and from there, from the people who come to it, and I guess I think we have a plan for next month to meet. which we've been working on the draft of the letter. We've been working on, because we put something out initially, we didn't get much response. It's the same kind of thing. And to see if we can get some major players from different organizations, from the mayor of San Rafael, who was a member of Project Adapt early on. I took a training, and very, very aware, and principal people in organizations and government, in the Marin Interfaith Council. So we have a couple of sponsors, Marin Interfaith Council and United Religions Institute, because of Lauren's involvement. But we'd like to get, a variety of different sponsors, not just the religious area or uh, uh, climate organizations or whatever like that. So I'm seeing where that goes. Also, in terms of telling the story about that, we now have 4 members. Besides myself, there's 3 other members of the Project Adapt who have joined the design school. And Lauren attends the webinar like me. Warren is a much more organizing type person. She's more able to see and put things together. I've lost my ability to, at least I haven't found it back again, to write, to put something together, to tell a story. So I'd like to see, I'm looking forward to seeing that template. So my focus is to, right here in Marin, to see what comes of this plan to take a walk together. The event that we're hoping to put together from meeting with people is to take a walk along some place on the Bay Trail, which is in the process of being built along the periphery of the Bay Area of the Bay itself. So this is an attempt to organize bioregionally, and we talk. It's mentioned, but first we want to organize locally in Marin, and so
You're designing an immersion.
and we're doing we're dining. Yes, I guess you could say.
So what I'm hearing too, Pat, is that you can do this separately. Lori isn't at our meeting. She's not joining this group.
Yes,
She's working with you there.
Yeah.
So,
I'm working with them. I'm working with them really more than.
and that Dina and I and Dan are sort of looking at what to do up here.
Yeah.
And we should do
I'm-
that separately
I'm-
initially. What I would like to see is if we do that somewhat separately, that we keep the door open.
Yeah.
to Putting it together. Once it's begun to form,
Yeah.
to evolve into the Marin Sonoma.
My ideas.
Otherwise, and I still am trying to get feedback on why that bioregion, the Northern Marin, was really a part of the historical bioregion, the indigenous bioregion. It stretched from not all of Marin County, but the part that you're involved in up here. And why was that? That was a natural bioregion. So that's where the Marin Sonoma idea came from. And I'm still having trouble making that connection. I've articulated it as well as I can in that last letter, and I didn't get any response, which really surprised me because I felt that the letter really invited, at least we're not able to do this with you. I didn't even get that. So
Well,
how do we, yeah, I think what you're doing is exciting and you should go forward with it. The walks and the meetings and working with Lori, because you can do something.
well, one thing I'm finding out though, and it changes day by day because things things are changing and getting more extreme. I had a meeting last week with a nice walk with Tamara, who were good friends, and she's the one who started Resilient Neighborhoods in 2011, I think. And then she just retired, and she does not want to get involved right now in planning anything. She's just, um, just taking it's only been a few months that she's got this load off her shoulders. But on our walk, it's interesting. Well, first of all, she said that, and her husband has been very active. He's organized Marin Climate Action Network, and he started Sustainable San Rafael. They've both been very active over the years, and he just had a recent, I tell you, last month down in Corte Madera, and our congressman came there. 200 people showed up, basically around climate issues. But nobody really wanted to go forward on this because the issue right now is what's happening in our country. And that's and that's where the energy is. The other thing, and it's happening to me too, is I'm focused on what's happening in Gaza. And now it's erupting into a greater conflagration. Israel keeps pushing the envelope there, and now we've got something going on with Iran, and that's going to draw people. I mean, it's almost in some ways for some people, whatever was on the front burner about environment is kind of like
And yet the
it's all
reality,
connected. It's all connected, but people don't see it, and part of the story is to show how what is happening is connected. So we're
and
hoping to do that. We're hoping to do that. At least
how do we,
my intention of doing that in the thing that we put together here.
how do we get through that? Because to me, it's exactly what's happening is that the breakdown of the system isn't dealing with the climate crisis, which is so much bigger even than the political, and
Yeah.
it's huge, it's getting worse. And so
But
this
the,
is the
but
way
the problem is, Anna, when you're facing with on a Sunday evening in a church a couple of weeks ago, when you're hearing the nurse who just returned from Gaza from her third session emergency work there tell you about what's happening to babies. Like, I mean, you can't. It's like
the thing is that we need to, it's exactly what makes it so important to organize locally and to begin to give each other support
yeah,
and to give support locally to the activities that address. We can't depend on the federal government at all right now.
I
State
agree.
government's very well, maybe, and our local government is also caught in between. So how can we develop something that brings in resource, support, and community that's resilient against all of this change? And as the current, and Joe wrote about that very clearly. It was going to be very challenging. We're going into a real dystopian period,
Mhm.
potentially. And if it breaks apart, we're in very serious, we need to reorganize locally. It's got to be here. Now, I do believe in that. I don't think the answer is organizing in a larger way yet, although we're still participating and we need to stand up and do whatever. But what is our next step here? So Dina, and Dan, do we set a time? Do we set a place? Do we begin to develop a picture? How do we go forward? How do we get this word out about how important it is to bring a local support group that doesn't have answers, but that will be working to bring whatever answers are needed You know, we're not coming this way with something, we're
Yeah.
coming this way. And that's what's hard because it's new. How do you bring that?
We don't have the answers, and we're not those charismatic organizers. So I just go back to saying, what can we learn and what can we do ourselves? And I see the reason we meet Sonoma Marin is not to be one big bioregion project so much as to support each other.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, so and I'm really frustrated with the world situation, and I'm pretty pissed that we can't work on bioregion and restoration and community building. We have to work on the situation in our country and the world too. But that's what's going on right now.
Yeah, to me, the bioregional movement is an antidote to all of that stuff,
Right,
but it's at the local level. So for me, if we're going to bring together organizations like, you have had, according to your website, the Row House Institute. I'm not sure how to pronounce it properly. The Row House Institute,
Raw House.
Row House, yeah. And you've been part of that with Tor for all the years that it's been in existence, Dana?
Yeah,
Dina?
yeah.
Okay. Well, and so that's one of many organizations. I mean, and you're explicitly saying about resource efficiency, which to me puts it right in the center of bioregionalism and resource management. And I'm doing a bunch of other things relative to soil compost and bioresource management. And then there's the carbon management, like what you're talking about with the carbon conversations.
Well, that's just kind of a little bit misleading. It's a conversation about basically anything that is related
right.
to climate stuff. So
Yeah.
go ahead, Dan. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just,
No, I think that's the important thing. Like you're talking about the stories. What is an organizing story for what we're all envisioning? I mean, you wrote something up, Anna, that I was looking for too, and also looking for the stories that you had sent us back in May, I think it was, Dina. What stories do I tell? I have a young man who wants to help me run the Compost Coalition, which was started here in Sonoma County by Will Box. And of course, Will Box has since passed, and I kind of took that over. And so we're looking, and we have a number of different projects that we're working on, but they're all bioregional related. And I just heard that Leslie Lukash from our Zero Waste Sonoma has been working with, I'm forgetting her name now. I met her last year. Who's working with bioresource management and the Duncan's Mills down on the Russian River and with the natives population in that. I mean, we have all these environmental groups and all of their projects. So how would they benefit themselves, their organizations and their missions by getting together with all of us, and who's organizing all of that? That's what I'm saying is I don't have the bandwidth to organize it, but I do have the bandwidth to participate.
and like you started this conversation with Dan, you have the contact and the bandwidth to try to further the conversation about bioregionalism within the soil compost groups that you're a part of. And
right, it's a natural fit.
Yeah, so that is something. Yeah, you're not the guy that comes up with the brilliant idea to talk really super busy people into why they should be willing to get together and weave, but you're the guy that can still learn about bioregionalism and make it relevant for the soil compost groups that you touch.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of the way I see it. And that would be the reason I would participate, because we're natural regenerative carbon bioregional managers. That's our business.
Yeah,
And, you know, whether it's for-profit, nonprofit, or municipal, we're all working together in those various, as well as with educational institutions like UC Davis and so forth. But those are their own bioregions.
Right.
And there's people I met at the unconference, the one who was actually led a session called Bioregionalism 101, and he was from the governor's office.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and, you know, all of these people are well connected into these other organizations. The question is how does weaving make us all more effective and producing better results than we can do on our own?
Dina, what about, I don't know if Tor is open, but what if we used the, you have done so many conversations. What if this becomes a conversation that we really support by getting it out to all the groups and people that have shown interest or people that we think could be interested, and have it be around forming a community of change, and then showcase, do we get together and talk about it? People who are doing it, ask people like Matt or Solar Punk people or both to do a quick present about what they're doing.
Yeah,
Or-
so that model would be similar to the most recent carbon conversation of the fellows presenting their stories and their projects, and we saw firsthand that resonated with people. And quite honestly, we have the same problem putting on carbon conversations, is even with a lot of outreach, it's really unpredictable how many people will show up.
Mhm.
Anywhere's from less than 30. We had 30 at the last conversation, to the most we had was like a little over 100 probably. But it's like the same problem we're seeing over and over again. How to really get a consistent audience to participate or commit to. But, you know, it's not a bad idea to have a format again to share some stories. So
I'm just saying the platform already exists there, and a place and a relationship. And it might be possible then to really put the word out to a variety of groups. This is where this can begin. Come together and see if you're interested in being part of this circle. We've got to have local support for each other. I think one of the most interesting things, and this is what Matt could talk about, I know he's gotten money from through the BioFi and through the Novo Foundation. A lot of things are being funded. And I don't know. It just seems to me that we can let that settle a little bit. You could certainly talk to Tor. Is there some way we could use the existing platform and structure that at least has a beginning and a mailing list, and then add
it does, but the mailing list won't necessarily bring in
yeah, no, we'd have to add the groups.
But it would certainly be an interesting conversation, and they have great stories to tell. So it is, yeah, I'll talk to them about it.
And when would that be? You know, when is that? In the early fall or what to, talk to children?
Well, we're not gonna do any more during the summer because we compete with Peacetown on Wednesdays when we have the Grange. And also, it's like we do them whether we find a source of funding or not, but at some point, it's like having some funding to do the research and host and then archive the presentations. That all takes time.
Well,
And
this would be something that we could actually see if we can get money for through, I can look at the BioFi.
okay. All right.
So, we could get a small grant. And also Beans may have a way of that we can do that if everything else fails.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pat,
Well, you're all talking about a common subject. And Dan mentioned all the different organizations, well, your organization that you have too, of projects. And I was putting out for a while, the idea that to spawn in other organizations, that the benefit of organizing and coming together as a community, a local bioregional community, was the idea that you could develop the financial end of it as part of your bioregion. There's a whole thing going on that I'm not involved in, though. I know it's an idea and it attracts me, but I have not been following that part of the design school. So I don't know how to do that, but I was hoping to get the executive director of Spawn said he met with me and Penny and Joe that he was going to join and never followed up because that came up in our conversation. It seems to me that is a real strong attraction. And because right now I'm just talking to, I know that the local climate groups are always everybody's trying to get funding. And it's getting harder and harder because particularly some federal funding, of course, has been pulled back. So to me, that's part of I don't know, how do you do that? But seems to me that would be the benefit of down the road of building building that kind of a network to within your own bioregion, you have a funding piece of it that contributes the money. But that's a mystery to me to how that happens.
Yeah, and I keep thinking in my head, if people get desperate enough for money, they might be more open to listening to that.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, I've been attending as many as I can, the Regenerative Finance Lab.
Regenerative Finance Lab, that's what it is.
Yeah, that Joe is chairing, and there's a lot of good stuff in there. But I think if we bridged that with BioFi, do you have connections to BioFi?
Well, I've got us in the, the high-low communication part of it.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
Matt Ferguson, who we talked to, and I've had a hard time getting back to him. He hasn't gotten back to me and sent me the book and so forth. But Matt is a member of their that's doing the Grayton project, is on the staff.
Okay. How is that related to BioFi, or is that a separate thing?
Oh, it's a separate thing, but he's also, and she's local, I think. She may be, the other thing is
I've
finding,
forgotten her name. It's Pamela? No,
no,
Samantha Powers.
Samantha
yeah.
Powers.
Yeah.
Superhero name.
Yeah.
Seems to
Okay.
me that-
Well, I'm most interested in that because all of my projects are always, looking for alternative capital formation and funding.
Well,
So-
you should just get into the website and You can join right in. It doesn't cost anything.
Yeah,
Hilo
I
Communication.
have looked at, I haven't joined them in Hilo, but I did meet the technical officer of Hilo. He led one of our sessions at the unconference.
Yeah, we're coming up on the time, aren't we, Pat?
And I
Well, we
have
got
his
delayed.
card.
We got delayed while you were trying to find a way to
Yeah,
have your voice heard. But it's right there in Sonoma County. The source of financial support is Great Rancheria. I mean, they make money, and that's the if they were part of a web
Yeah.
that other the projects could be it's the you know more about it than I do, but that's the sad thing about it. It's the irony that they're not involved.
I'm going to push it and be pushy. That's all I can do.
Yeah, of course, of course.
I thi-
I'm gonna talk to him and say, look, I need a clear response from you. This is too important to you and to me. And this is,
Yeah,
so I'm gonna,
I think those three groups are important anchor tenants for the finance piece, and I'm,
What are they? What are the three groups, Dan?
well, Samantha Powers by BioFi,
BioFi, yes.
the regenerative finance lab,
Yeah.
and then Great and Rancheria, because that's what puts us in place. I know BioFi is all over the place, but if we're part of that,
Local, this is right here.
yeah, I mean, it's local, and there's a lot of other funding sources here, although the wine industry, I have one of my members of the Compost Coalition is Old World Wineries. So
yeah,
Derek Trowbridge.
Derek,
and,
we talked to, right?
Yeah,
He's-
but
he's willing to join in.
yeah, he did, but he's not here. So why is that? I happen to know why it is because he hasn't.
This part,
Yeah.
he's willing to come in as a member of the larger group when we
Yeah.
form. I don't expect somebody like Derek to do this.
Okay, well, that's the point. What is that larger group doing and who leads it? Because I wanted to be a member of that as well, very much like Derek, but Derek represents his own businesses
Right,
and the wine industry as well as as a member of the wine industry. And then there's the RCDs that are part of our, they have built their own soil hubs all around the state, but the North Coast Soil Hub is one of the main ones here. And the RCDs, of course, are a quasi-government agency, but
and
they have to get.
Dina has a beautiful long, Dina, this is what I would like to do is sit with you and go through our list and see who's been contacted, who's responded, and if we're forming something, who we should focus on, because it was too amorphous and the whole.
What's the story or the message or the strategy as well as the
And, well, we
tactics?
have to have an event or some kind of something that starts this. And
Well, I like the idea of a conversation because that seemed really low impact. Not
Yeah.
like putting on a conference like they did with the unconference. So
Yeah.
that's a
That's
big
a lot of
push up,
work.
although they did
that
a
was
great
more than
job, I
could
thought.
imagine.
Yeah.
But maybe Dina, as things wind down for you at home a little bit, you and I can get together and go over that
Just on a side note, I emailed you all the Google Doc on bioregional storytelling template from Penny. And the Climate Core write-up, and I think a link to the video that Tor put on our website is in the Sebastopol Times today, as well as on our website, but I just emailed you all the Sebastopol Times link to see what Anna and I have been talking about.
And a couple of things from here. One is we were just the last sub committee planning this Project Adapt project. We're talking about, you want to have an event, but there's the logistics of it. If you want to have food, you want to, but organizing an event takes a lot of work, no matter what it is. So that's the other issue. And the other thing is, in one of those emails, with the Penny forwarded to this person who has I think they meet on a Monday, on the second Monday of the month. Isn't that right, Dina? I'm
Yeah.
going to try to make the next one, and I can share what we're doing and where we find ourselves. If I'm saying it correctly, basically we're basically here to staying in it to support each other, and we're working more locally than the idea of we really don't have a Marin Sonoma hub, but
Yeah.
that's okay. That should be okay. I think the fact that we right now it's we're finding the opportunity anyway. There's a possibility, opportunity for us to work more locally. So that's what we'll do, right? I can say that.
Yeah, so what I am curious about is on the Tuesdays, we don't have the webinar. Or is it, no, the Thursday of the same week as the webinar, there's something I never
Yeah,
go.
there's a community call. It's called community call, and it's an opportunity for people
talk
to
about-
talk to each other after from what happened in the webinar.
Okay, so how is that different than the Corey group, the second Monday of the month?
That's more of a support group for specifically. Um,
Oh, where you're
I-
having more sharing, this is what's going on and,
I'll have to find out. I'll have to find out. But I haven't been going. I haven't had time to go to the Thursday or make my time. Thursdays. Thursdays gotten to be kind of complicated for the community call. So I haven't been going to any community.
I have been doing that one, and I just find that it's a little, you can kind of put out the issue, but you don't get very far with it. It's just, you have 15 minutes or 20 minutes with a group of
Yeah.
4 people, you don't have much time. And my feeling about that really brilliant presentation that Brian Pupa did again was that it was wonderful, but I haven't taken this language into my being.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to hold it. I can track it as they're doing it, but it isn't, I don't have the content of experience to back up my understanding of the words. It's like, how do I can
Sorry,
take
I need to jump. I have an 8:30, I mean, an 11:30 meeting that I need to be on.
absolutely, Dan, and I understand, we'll talk.
I
I
have
understand where you're at with this, and you've got to
Great.
do.
If I focus on the finance, that gives me a good focus because that's
I really
where,
appreciate that.
yeah, so I'm happy to do that.
yeah,
All right. Thanks, guys.
perfect,
Talk later.
See you.
Thank you.
okay, see you, Dan.
See ya.
Where are you now? Where are you now?
We're in the lodge, park. We left a little late, it wasn't that late, but it took 40 minutes to get into.
Are you still there, Anna?
I'm still here.
Okay,
Are you going to be there for a while?
yeah, I'm gonna keep trying to enhance my story writing skills and formulate some other more concrete ideas about storytelling.
And
And
did you also ask Tor if he's open?
yeah, I will ask him what he thinks about. Honestly, he does the most work on Carbon Conversations, and he started them, so he picks things that he wants to research, and I think he's supportive of bioregionalism, but it's not his baby the way it is ours.
Well, see what he has to say. And can
Yeah.
you plan to get together and kind of go through our when do things lighten up for you a bit? Why don't you give me a call when they do?
All right. I mean, I'm not really sure. Personally, I want to put the energy to continuing right now reaching out to people like we spent a year trying to do. And I am happy we have that huge list of all kinds of groups and individuals, and I'm happy we've made contact with some of them. And it is nice to know who responded to your flurry of letter writing this year and who didn't. So organizing it is always good, but I just feel like my forte is like doing something small that reaches out, and I would want to put more energy on that and learning storytelling at this point in time.
Yeah, and I've got
Good.
to try it again to connect with Matt and with Great and Rancheria. Those
Yeah,
two.
that's kind of funny. You got one letter back and then you answered questions and didn't hear anything, right?
That happens. That's the way it is. You just have to go out and follow up, and I'm starting to learn that now.
Well, Pat, I think it's good that we have this together.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you. I appreciate you working,
Well,
but also it's really good to call you and we can commiserate.
yeah, yeah. I wanted to give you the irony right now. I'm on the phone with my wife. She's in Yosemite. This is like what we're doing, how we are trying to stay connected. We're in separate localities. She's in Yosemite with a few friends. Today is our 46th wedding anniversary, so we just wished each other a happy anniversary.
Oh, so go do that. That's more important.
So, but I think once telling stories or just telling from your heart, finally being able to express yourself about what's going on with yourself kind of opens up. I just feel I've been kind of shut down because I was focused less here than where I'm trying to stay focused. Just having everything on the table, there's no reason not to stay connected. We just have to keep working at it and supporting each other. I don't know what else to do, how much more I can do.
I need your support. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
I need you two guys, and it's so good to have Dina back. I mean, so
I don't need Dina. I mean, Dina's the base.
yeah, I know. But there's maybe there'll be a possibility, who knows, during the summer, get together somehow.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
So I'm feeling more open to that. Although I didn't want to go to Yosemite, I wanted to stay home.
By the way, just on the side, send your good thoughts to David. He's going through a kind of a.
What's happening with David? What'd you say?
Well, it's a long story.
Oh.
He's going through a possible infection from a operation that he had.
Oh, really? Oh, that's not good to hear.
But he's
Her brother is just like the point person now on Whidbey Island.
one thing or another, and he's done some beautiful stuff in Whidbey. So
I thank David for my worm farm that I feed every day here. And we just made worm tea. Lois just made the worm tea. I had to stay home. I'm watering the garden and I have to take care of the plants and everything.
I'm here alone too. Everybody's up in Plumas, Eureka. So I'm alone this week. I'm available and a bit lonely. So
yeah.
Any getting together just to do that would be wonderful. Anyway, love you guys.
All right. So we're good for the next, see each other, if not before the next 2 weeks then, right? On a Tuesday.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will touch base again with you, Anna.
Good.
Do either of you want to write a little summary of today, or do you want me to put something together? Be glad to, whatever.
Well, you don't like to put it together, and I don't like the AI because it doesn't.
I use the AIs for reference. That's all I do.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I just find I get frustrated when I look at it. I can try to put it together a bit.
No, I just think a few lines is all that we need to do, because then
right.
Here's what's going on. If you want to know more, watch the video.
You're
And so you'll have to get through the first 10 minutes to find out the drama of how it ends. How does Anna ever have audio? Does the audio stay with it? Stay tuned and find out. So that's how I've got you. I started the link before you came on.
If you've got anybody that you can refer that's on the website to my book, I'm doing the book club on Thursday.
Yeah, that's right too. Yeah, that's great.
And it started okay, but we could use double the amount of people. I had like 5 that weren't there as a support for me. So I'd love to have 5 more. 10 would be perfect.
But it has to be design school members.
Yeah, except that I just put it out on BioFi and, it's $5 a month.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if they want to come on just to do the book, it might cost $10 for heaven's sakes.
yeah. All right, if I think of anybody. Anna, maybe you have time to kind of see if Christine or Laura can connect with you and kind of see what they're doing.
I thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys. Nature is calling me.
Okay.
And Elaine.
Good to see you both.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Love you both.
You too. Bye bye.